really enjoyed reading Cerebus and how much we want to see it preserved and the legacy kept alive.
Okay. And that's, I mean, as I said when Tim first asked for somebody to take over, I said, I'll throw my shiny metal helmet in the ring if nobody else wants it. And ever since then, I'm pretty sure he went, great, it's yours, and jumped in his car and drove away.
It's funny you should say that, because that's the sense I'm getting from Dave while I'm here. It's like, all right, kid, see you later. No. He's still doing stuff, but I can tell. I think he's a little bit happy to have someone here to kind of maybe take over the reins for a little bit, just to get his feet wet.
And I mean, I can understand the idea of, you know, it's better to have a trial run of, okay, this is what it's going to be like. Are you sure you still want to do this? As opposed to, okay, here's the keys, I'm gone.
Yeah, exactly. That was a big part of me coming here too. But it's kind of like, it ties in with your first question as to like why he chose me, and a big part of it is strange death of Alex Raymond. He said I'm the biggest fan, and I'm the only one who really knows. I am the only one who knows where he's going with it, and knows a lot about it, as much as him. There's some things I think I can honestly say that I might know a little bit more, or maybe I just haven't brought to his attention yet. And then there's a lot of stuff that he knows that I don't know what his thoughts are on. But in terms of the strange death of Alex Raymond, that's, I think, a big part of the reason why he wanted me to be able to take over. So, like I said, it's still just the second day, and I'm still trying to get myself organized here. It's a lot to take in, but not in the way that you would think. The biggest problem I'm having is just trying to figure out, like, how I want to set up and what I want to tackle first. Like, Dave's shown me a bit of the business side. We kind of had a bit of a, daily walkthrough of what he does for business things. And then I've had a tour of the Off-White House, a quick tour around. And it's like, there's just a lot of stuff that I kind of want to see. Okay, what's this? What's here? What's this? How would I do? How would I organize this? Where would I put that? He's got a lot of it already organized, but I think his main concern right now, and it kind of should be, is working on Cerebus Hell and Strange Death of Alex Raymond. And, if there's other little minor things that need to be done around the house, that's not, and I don't think it should be his main priority right now.
Okay. So Dave's at an undisclosed location, holed up with, I'm assuming, a remote control and probably all the bliss that he's missed since, the last vacation he had. I mean, that's one of those, the big question I'm going to have for him next week is, so how did you enjoy your summer vacation?
Well, so I am meeting with him daily to go over stuff. Like I said, this is only the second day, and I'm going to meet him later after this phone call. And he did call to say, can we postpone it a little bit? I just found out that Donald Trump is going to be doing a July 4th speech. And he said that, he goes, I've never heard Donald Trump speak before, which I'm probably the only person on the planet who has never heard him speak. And I'm like, never heard Donald Trump speak before? Like, that's interesting to me. So, I'm going to go ask him and ask him what he thought of Donald Trump's voice, because he says he's never heard him talk before.
I find that surprising, but at the same time, I don't find it surprising, if that makes any sense.
Not at all, Matt. Oh my God. Like, the weird stuff you would kind of expect to see and experience and happen around him, it happens. Like, I kind of went in expecting, like, okay, the computer stuff is going to go weird. Yeah, the computer stuff went weird. Just, you think something is going to go fine, like, there's no reason why it shouldn't, and then something just, this isn't going to work today or something. Like, it's just unbelievable. So, we shouldn't be surprised, but we still sometimes are.
Well, that's, what was it? I was going to ask about, is there a digital version of the archive? Like, does Dave have all the digital stuff that he's supposed to have organized, or is there, like, just a stack of floppy disks going back to, the old big 5.5-inch ones? Just, oh, yeah, this is the stuff you got to take care of, Eddie.
That's a good question. I think some of the stuff is digitized and some isn't. And the extent to which it's digitized, I don't know. Like, I think I met Rolly today, and I think a lot of the correspondence is being digitized. How much of it has been digitized, I'm not sure. But I think that stuff is. In terms of the older stuff, like the stuff, like you said, if they're on 5.5-inch floppies, which I don't think they have that here, but maybe they do somewhere. They might have 8 tracks somewhere, Matt. I don't know. Those ones I don't think have been digitized. So that's definitely one of the things I kind of want to get my head around in terms of, okay, is this something where we're going to want to digitize everything as much as possible right now, or is that something that can be held off for a little bit and done sometime in the future?
I know that somewhere in the archive supposedly is the VHS tape of the making of 105, the Flaming Carrot crossover. And that's, Dave has mentioned in the past of, if someday we're going to find this tape, and I'm like, I have this feeling it's going to be in a box, in the back of a closet, completely forgotten. Or worse, it was one of those things where Dave got rid of his electronics and went, I don't need tapes anymore.
I hope not. I think and that is one of the things. It could be in a closet somewhere around here. Some of the stuff is organized and some of the stuff isn't, or it's in piles where it's got to be put away. Like I said, I don't think that's necessarily a big priority for him right now in terms of, compared to doing the comics and getting the work done. So it is something where I am eventually, like, if I do and when I do take over, that is something that I would need to address and look at. Like, where's the videotape for the making of 104? I asked him yesterday, actually, if he had any copies of Prisoners of Gravity starring him. And he said no, but aren't they all on YouTube? And I said, well, a lot of them are, but I can't seem to find any with Dave Sim on them. And he said, oh, that's interesting. He goes, no, I don't think I ever got any copies of them. So something like that would be something where I would want to track down and see whoever has them or whoever did the show, if they have copies of it. And then it's like, could I have some copies for the archive?
Right. That reminds me of the second Bookees of Cerebus signing in Salt Lake City. I'd gone to the first one with the wife. We, packed up, drove 11 hours to New York, went to the first one, had a great time with the Yahoos, and they announced they're doing the second one in Salt Lake City, and I said to Paula, okay, let's, they're doing another show, but it's in Salt Lake City, I kind of want to go. And she said, well, let's go. So, okay, we get in the car and we drive 27 hours one way. It was a 25-hour trip with a 2-hour nap. And we get there, and she finds out it's the same art show we'd already seen, and she was pissed. But one of the things that I brought with me to have Dave sign was a copy of Future Day by Gene Day, which has, like, I want to say a half dozen or maybe a dozen different stories Gene had written and drawn, and a lot of them have lettering from Dave. And I was at a half-price bookstore, found 3 copies of it, bought all 3 of them, and I'm like, I'm going to get one signed for me, and the other 2 I'll do something else with, I don't know what. And I pull them out of my bag to have Dave sign them, and he's looking at it, he's like, I've never seen this before. And I'm like, what? He's like, I don't own this. And I'm like, well, you do now. I only need 1 copy. So he and Gerhard, because there's a photo of Gene on the back, and Dave remembers the photo from when it was taken, but he doesn't, he'd never seen the book. So he's looking at the 3, and he and Gerhard are comparing them, and they're finding the best copy of the photo because that's what Dave wants the most. And he's like, okay, so he signs one to me, and then I have him sign the other one to the next Gene Day prize winner at Space, and that year at Space, I gave it to the winner. I think it was Steve Peters, but I could be wrong. And it turns out that photo of Gene that was on that book is what Dave used for the photo reference for an issue of Cerebus Archive. And that's why he wanted the book. Because when he got to doing Cerebus Archive and he got to that issue, he wanted to have that photo of Gene. And it's one of those, it's a weird, you would assume, well, hey, Dave, you have work in the book. Didn't you get a copy? Nope. Never saw it.
I think that happened a lot more before email and before everybody was so in touch with everybody. It probably still happens quite a bit, where it's like, they'll suck up and, I need this from you. And once they get it and they publish the book or whatever, they don't send a copy to anybody who contributed. Again, I don't know how often that happens. It probably happens quite a bit still, to be honest. But that's a great find. You keep finding really good stuff, man.
Well, you gotta keep your eyes open. It's one of those. It was the best part is, so I got to keep a copy. The copy I have is bound upside down, so the front cover is the back cover. So not only is it a weird, rare book, but it's a weird, rare printing of a weird, rare book.
Matt, I think you've got the knack for finding weird stuff that's relevant to Cerebus and Dave Sim in the archive.
Well, that's anything I find, I try to send Dave a copy of. Did he mention anything about the Stan Drake illustrated thing? Have you guys talked?
It came up in our conversation, I think, but indirectly.
Okay.
And I haven't had a chance to fully debrief with him about, like, I have a ton of stuff on my laptop that I brought over that I'm like, okay, I gotta go over this stuff with him. And it's just like other stuff keeps coming up, and it's like, okay, so hopefully I'll be able to get to it in a bit. But it was a good one. Like, I mentioned how I said that was just an incredible find. And he said, and especially the part about Stan Drake mentioning Alex Raymond and talking about, those blacks being, quiet pools of black or whatever it was he said they were. And that quote especially, because that was a quote that was affiliated with Alex Raymond before. So I can tell, we didn't, again, talk about it too much, but that was a huge find, Matt. That's just, especially finding something from Stan Drake. Yeah.
That was, like I said in an email I sent you, that I found, or somebody was selling that a year ago, or in the past year, on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, I should buy this. I'm like, it's coming from England, and I don't want to have to pay, $30 to ship it. Let it go, it's fine, And then the other day, I just stumbled across it, and of course, I'm with my friend, and I'm like, I just checked out the comic book store. When he finds it, I'm like, hey, it's $2. Can you buy this for me? And I'll pay you back. He's like, we'll make it part of your birthday present. I'm like, okay, that works for me. And then, sat on my nightstand for 2 days, finally opened it up, and I'm flipping through it, just reading a magazine where there's literally the facing page to the ad is an article about upcoming Walt Disney projects that talks about, and I'm not kidding you, this imaginative new short that was spun out of a failed movie called Trick or Treat by Tim Burton, and the short's called Vincent, about a kid who wants to be Vincent Price. Then the article continues saying that Disney's gearing up, the animators are gearing up, and because there had just been an animator strike in '83 that ended right before this issue came out, and they're gearing up for production of an adaptation of Who Censored Roger Rabbit. And I'm reading it like, this is all ancient history, and of course they're writing about it because it's new and upcoming and exciting, isn't it? And I'm like, this movie's 30 years old. And I'm reading the article, and I'm looking at the ad, and I see Stan Drake's name, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is the 21st century. I can find anything I want by going to the Google and type it in, and I think it was the third link. It wasn't even like, the first 5 links were eBay auctions that ended a year ago. It was the third link was some guy on some board, hey, I scanned this, anybody is interested, here are the scans. And I'm just like, download, print this off, mail it to Dave. Because I'm sure it was going to be one of two things. Either Dave has never seen this, or Dave has a copy that's well worn and falling apart from